I really want people to hear this, that the way optometrists go to glasses is similar to the way that doctors kind of just default to antibiotics. What would you do differently, and what should the person listening or the families listening be considering instead of just jumping to the glasses?
Well, let me start by saying glasses are not always bad. It's just one tool in a very large toolbox. You may be wondering, does my kid have ADD or ADHD or dyslexia, right? The symptoms of that: squirming with desk work, relying on their ears rather than their eyes. When in the classroom, they're listening to the teacher, but looking like they're not paying attention because they literally can't control where their eyes are pointing and having their brain turn on to that information at the same time. Losing their place with reading, skipping words, skipping lines, even just being resistant or reluctant to reading, wanting the parent to read to them. I mean, those are clear signs that there's very likely a visual developmental delay or functional vision problem. There's not a blood test that says, oh yes, you have ADD or ADHD. It's based off of symptoms and behaviors. And there's a lot of symptoms that go both ways here. Dyslexia, somebody struggling with reading. I mean, these are all incomplete diagnoses until functional vision problems are ruled out first. And it's not like somebody's born missing a portion of their brain that allows them to read. It's faulty integration of the visual processing centers, the auditory processing centers, the language centers, and not creating the right pathways and connections there. Screens are hard to look at. It's hard to read. We get sensory overload in environments like the grocery store, mall, where there's all this input that we can't filter. Dizziness, nausea, headaches. I mean, there's so many symptoms there. But then even the simple, as we get older, we all think that cognitive capacity drops and vision problems occur. And although that's common, that's not normal.
Explain that a little bit, because I think that's a really key concept. It's like when they hit a certain age, they got glasses. It's almost like it's just the default.
So the inside muscles of our eyes responsible for clarity, our focusing system. As we age, and it's typically in our mid to late 40s, they become more rigid and less flexible just anatomically. Most people, the first sign of, oh, it's a little hard to read my phone or to read the menu, they just run and grab over-the-counter readers. And to me, that is like the equivalent of, my knee hurts a little, I'm going to go sit in a wheelchair. You literally stop using the system. If that becomes your new normal, then all of a sudden, the things you were doing, you're not doing as well without the help, and you're relying on the help, and then the help gets stronger and stronger. And so ultimately, I mean, if we're living to 100, 150 years old, we're probably going to need some help for up close, but it could be a fraction of the prescription at a fraction of the time if we're intentional with this. Although it may take some effort and some strain, use that system. Like if something's blurry, stop and make it clear. And if you can hold it for 5 seconds, awesome. The next day, try for 6 seconds and then 7 seconds, and you can build reserve, you can build stamina there. We want to prolong the need for reading glasses in as many situations as possible.
It's kind of in our nature to not want to do the work. You're talking about basically like a gym for our eyes. And many of us are just like, oh man, another gym. How do you recommend we kind of overcome this human nature to not do the hard work and want to look for that magic pill?
I think there's 3 subsets of people. There's the people who have pain points, have the symptoms, and they will do anything possible to make life better. There's the other end of the spectrum who it's like, everything's fine, but I'd like to optimize and improve anything I can. And then there's the middle chunk, which is the vast majority of people where they're just kind of lost. They don't know what's normal, what's not. They're not able to self-regulate or self-monitor. Maybe they're not able to check in with their body and how they're doing, and they're just on the go mode throughout the day. And it's that middle group that's really, I think, the group you're talking about here, where at times it's a lot easier to grab over-the-counter readers, to read the bill, to pay the check, to get out of there, to go home and do bedtime and deal with all the stuff, versus figuring out how to do the work so that that area of health is optimized. For people with substantial vision problems, they need office-based training, and they need to work with a doctor board certified in this, and they need to reboot the brain. And then once that hard work is done, then it's a matter of just maintaining. Maintenance is very different than doing something for the rest of your life. All the pro athletes I work with, we have a top 3, top 5, top whatever exercises that they do as a pregame ritual to kind of prime their brain for action in their craft or in their sport. For people who want to do things more days than not and just be more proactive, tying specific procedures or exercises with normal habits makes it so you don't have to think about it. You don't have to feel guilty about not doing it. You don't have to have it be on your to-do list that just keeps getting pushed off and off until the end of the day. So I was actually on a podcast late last week and we came up with pooping push-ups, focusing flexibility work. We call those eye push-ups every time that you poop. And if you're regular and if you're eating pluck and you're healthy, that's helping support digestion, which I know it has for me. Near far focus exercises every time you're in the bathroom, 2 minutes right eye, 2 minutes left eye. We can talk through what it is. That's at least one thing that you just know, okay, I'm going to be on my phone for 4 minutes less, and I'm actually going to do this and do something to help me. Or eye stretches when you're brushing your teeth and you're looking in the mirror. I mean, certain things that's just like, yeah, this is just what I do, and I'm doing this until I'm not doing this.
Most people are sitting on the toilet just looking at their phones. So if anything, they're doing the thing that's making it worse.
Exactly. And then your phone gets all dirty and yeah, so you don't want any of that.
Okay. So you just gave two examples. One is when you're pooping and one is when you're brushing teeth. So what is the one exercise you would recommend they do while they are pooping?
Eye push-ups. So everybody take one hand, cover up one of your eyes. Other hand, take a finger and don't use the wrong finger. Bring the finger as close to your eye down your midline as you can until it gets a little blurry, and then stop and try and make it clear. So if you're under 40, you can probably get it pretty close. If you're in your 40s, 50s, probably a little farther back. You want to hold it as close as you can and really get to a point where you can see the fingerprint and kind of the pad of your finger and get the detail there. Stop, make it clear, hold it for 5 seconds, and really think about looking hard, constricting the focusing system, stimulating it. You'll notice your pupil gets really small when you're looking close. You're going to take your focus and throw it out into the distance and look as far across the room as you can for 5 seconds and relax the focus and kind of look soft, and the pupil will get real big. And then come back to your close finger for 5 seconds, and back in the distance for 5. So it's kind of a gross stimulation, relaxation, stimulation, relaxation. Same amount of time right eye as you're doing it with the left eye. And most people notice that the distance where they can hold that finger is probably a little closer with one eye than the other, which means under normal life conditions, you're probably focusing one of your eyes at a slightly different plane than the other because it's hard to focus on both at the same time. And our brains are phenomenal in terms of how we can adapt to not have to do something that's hard, to not have to use our eyes together as a team.
Which I have going on, if you remember correctly. Yeah,
absolutely.
Going on.
You do this literally 2 minutes each eye, more days than not, your finger will be able to get closer and closer and closer. And even if it's a millimeter a week, you're not going to maybe notice that, but years are going to go by and you're not going to have stronger reading glasses. You're probably going to be doing a lot more without your reading glasses. And this is like as simple as it gets. This is like low-hanging fruit. This is doing push-ups. I want to get in great shape. I want to look great naked. Just doing push-ups is not going to get you there. But it's taking one system, getting you to have a much better rapport with it and building flexibility and stamina with it.
Okay, what's the exercise they can do when they're brushing their teeth? A different one.
I said eye stretches a few minutes ago, but I think a better one would be VOR. So it's a vestibular ocular reflex. Don't worry about the name. Cover up an eye. Look at your eye in the mirror. Don't look away from your eye. And then you're going to slowly turn your head to the left, slowly turn to the right, but holding fixation the whole time. And it actually kind of looks a little weird for some people to see their eye steady as everything else is moving. And so you're going to go side to side. You can go up and down. The more you do this, you want to add in the diagonals, rotations, same amount of time right eye as left eye. That for many people can significantly improve motion sensitivity, sometimes even car sickness with a few other things as well, that the vast majority of car sickness has a visual component that's treatable. You're brushing your teeth and you do this for 30 seconds, a minute each eye. Your teeth are going to be cleaner because you're brushing for longer, but also you're developing a much better relationship between the vestibular and visual systems and also the cervical system as you're doing it.
These are very practical, very doable exercises. And I love that you're using what you're in front of, right? So you're in front of the mirror when you're brushing your teeth. So boom, that's what we're using. Love it. If you enjoyed the clip from the podcast, make sure to check out the next video up here or head over to watch the full episode down here. And before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Come on. Yeah, thanks for watching.